In order to understand the best way on how to learn web development, there are key things that we need to look at. These things will help you greatly in order to complete your web development journey. What are these things? In the first place, you need to understand what web development is. You also need to understand how we start with the basics in web development. You need to understand also the front-end frameworks and tools, back-end basics, deployment and hosting, and how we build projects. Before writing a single line of code, we need to understand what web development actually means. Web development is the process of building websites and web applications that run in a browser. It includes everything from static web pages to complex web-based apps, social media platforms, and e-commerce sites. Web development is categorized into three main areas. We have the front-end development, the back-end development, and the full-stack development. Front-end development focuses on what the user sees and interacts with directly. It includes layouts, navigations, colors and fonts, buttons, and other elements. Backend development also focuses on how the website works behind the scenes. It includes the servers, the databases, business logics, and APIs. The full stack development is the process of combining both the front end and the back end. Starting with the basics. What are the basic things that a web developer must understand in his web development journey? One of the basic things that the web developer must understand is the HTML aspects of web development. HTML, also referred to as hypertext markup language, is the standard language used to create the structure of web pages. It tells the browser what to display, like headings, paragraphs, images, links, buttons, and more. In simple terms, HTML is the skeleton of a website or a web application. CSS. CSS also means cascading style sheets. CSS is the language used to style and design HTML elements on a web page. It controls things like colors, fonts, layouts, spacing, and responsiveness. In simple terms, CSS makes the web look nice. While HTML gives the structure, CSS gives its style. JavaScript. It is also another aspect of the front end. JavaScript is a programming language used to make web pages interactive and dynamic. While HTML builds the structure and CSS styles it, JavaScript brings it to life. Handle things like button clicks, form validations, animations, and real-time updates. So in simple terms, JavaScript adds behavior to your website. After completing these three main areas, you must understand that at this point in time, we must learn how to build small projects. This will help you to do more practice. Examples of such projects are personal portfolio pages, simple landing pages, and image gallery, and many more. Upon completing the front-end basics, it is now time to move on to front-end frameworks and tools. One of the most widely used framework in front-end development is React.js. React.js is a popular JavaScript library for building user interfaces. especially single-page applications where you need a fast, interactive experience. It was developed by Facebook and allowed developers to build reusable UI components. Git and GitHub. Git is a tool that helps you keep track of changes in your code. It allows you to save versions of your work and let multiple people work on the same project without messing up each other's work. GitHub is a website where you can store your Git code online. It makes it easier to share your code with others, work together, and see the changes people make. It also helps you keep your project organized and lets people contribute to your work. Package managers. Package managers are tools that help you manage software libraries and dependencies in your project. They automatically handle the installation, updating, and removal of packages that your project needs. In simple terms, they make it easier to add new features to your project without having to manually download and set up everything. For example, NPM, which is a Node package manager, is for JavaScript, and pip, which is Python package installer, is for Python. We have completed with the tools and technologies we need to learn in order for us to build beautiful and interactive user interfaces. It is now time for us to look at the back end. In order for us to understand the back end, the first thing we need to look at is the server-side languages. These are programming languages that are used to write the code that runs on the server, not the user's browser. They handle things like database interaction, user authentication, and processing requests. Examples of server-side languages are Python, PHP, JavaScript, Java, C#, etc. Server-side frameworks. They are pre-built libraries that help you write server-side code faster and more efficiently. They provide tools and structure for building applications. Examples of frameworks are Express, which is a Node.js framework, Django, which is a Python framework, Ruby on Rails, which is a Ruby framework, Spring and Spring Boot, which is for Java, and Laravel, which is for PHP. These frameworks save time by providing built-in solutions for common tasks. There are also some key concepts we need to understand when it comes to the back-end development. One of them is routing, which handles URLs like login, register, and many more. REST APIs. It interfaces for front end to communicate with the back end. We also have to look at CRUD, which is for create, read, update, and delete operations in our application. Authentication, like login, registration, sessions, and tokens. Then we also need to look at security, like prevent SQL injections, XSS, and CSIF, and many more. Databases. It is also a very important concept when it comes to application development. SQL databases like Postgres SQL, MySQL, which falls under the category of structured query languages. We also have NoSQL databases like MongoDB. Deployment and hosting. These are key elements that we need to understand when developing websites and web applications. In order for your application or your website to be accessed remotely, it must be hosted on a server. For practical development, we need to look at the front-end hosting platforms as well as back-end hosting platforms, which have some free plans for startups. For the front-end hosting platforms, Netlify, Vercel, GitHub pages are a good start. For the back-end hosting, we have Render, Heroku, Railway, DigitalOcean, and many more. Other concepts such as domain names, which gives you access to custom URLs, must be understood. HTTPS and SSL are also important to secure your site. We also need to understand the concept of environment variables, which helps to keep the secret information unknown to the public, like username and passwords of your application. We've now understood the concept of both front-end and back-end. It is now time for us to put those concepts in good use. Build projects. Why do we build projects, and why project matters? They will help you to apply what you've learned, to gain real experience by building a portfolio, and prepare for jobs or freelancing. Some of the project ideas that you should embark on are like personal portfolio websites, blog with login and comments, weather or news app, task or to-do list, e-commerce mockups, and many more. So with these project ideas, you can be able to exercise all what you've learned right from the front end as well as the back end. And you will only become a great developer when you build projects and you practice more. Web development isn't just a skill. It is a gateway to building the future. Whether you are dreaming of creating your own app, launching a tech startup, or simply understanding the language of the digital world, the journey starts with that first line of code. Embrace the learning process, stay curious, and remember, every expert was once a beginner. The web is yours to shape, so start building today.